This is Animusic. When I first saw this as a kid, I was immediately drawn into the entire video and the music. You have a fucking awesome synthesizer followed by a astounding animation, especially for the time, that draws the eyes and immediately pleasures your ears. It's fantastic. A lot of people, especially the US, have heard of Animusic, and I guarantee it was also popular in other Western countries. I heard it and saw it all the time back when I was in school, 20 years ago. Which makes me feel like a dinosaur, even though I'm in my 20s. And my birthday was literally yesterday. So, that's awesome. But, anyways. Now, I was thinking a lot about Animusic lately. For people unaware in my community, I have always been a huge fan of this property. In fact, one of the characters in the book I'm working on, Anime, is actually named after Animusic. Animusic's first part was released back in 2001, although the studio behind it was around for a lot longer. This isn't really going to be a deep dive into the studio's history, but there's actually a whole bunch of stuff they made before Animusic. I believe there's something called Bells and Whistles, and then there's Beyond the Wall are the two that I've heard of. There might be more too, I'm not really positive. But this video is more just upon, talking about what happened after 2001, kind of the future of Animusic, and why I think it works so much, especially for a younger generation trying to get into music. So, Animusic, the very first, DVD that was released, I believe had 7 animated tracks, and I believe the second one had 8 main tracks. And all of these tracks have become very, very famous in their own ways. For example, you've probably seen this one, Pipe Dream, which is everywhere, and I honestly am not positive. I believe it also inspired people like Winter Garden, who made the Marble Machine. You have literally seen this animation and ideas, around this sort of thing all over the place. In fact, even Intel, I believe, tried to make a, Pipe Dream-esque display to display the power of their CPUs. And whether or not Winter Garden was directly inspired by Animusic, you definitely cannot lie and say that there are absolutely no similarities. Especially in terms of, the way the marbles filter in and out of the machine and everything. Super fucking cool. So, the animations are beautiful, and the music is fucking fantastic, and pretty much every single track on these CDs is a banger in one way or another. But why does it work so well? This is what kind of got me thinking about making this video. Because I've always loved Animusic, and I really haven't, sat down and put into words why I think it works. And the main reasons I think it works, really the biggest reason, is beauty and clarity. Now, exactly what do I mean by this? I want you to watch the next snippet and listen to it. And I mean really, really watch and listen to it and watch what's happening on your screen. The way the camera work is framed and the way the quote-unquote instruments, in the case of, for example, the giant-ass red fucking laser, work, they pull your eyes every single time they stop and finish. Even stuff like the exaggerated expansion and contraction of the flute on, for example, the fucking 3-headed bass guitar, all pull your eyes, and you can very easily tell what sound is coming from what instrument. And Animusic is a fucking master of this. It is amazing how much you can learn just by watching these pieces of music and listening to them and comparing what instrument is making what sound. Even with absolutely no music experience, you can tell that, oh, at this point, this instrument is doing this. And because of that, you'll get an idea as to how the different layers are made when it comes to actually creating your own instrumental tracks. This is in part due to the way that Animusic is actually animated. You see, they use these things called MIDI files, which are essentially like notes in a file form. And the instruments are actually set up to directly play based on the input MIDI. What this means is what you're watching on screen is literally a virtual instrument playing itself. It is actively animated to the sound of the fucking music. And because of that, the animations feel super, super real, and it feels like you're actually watching a performance. This technique, coupled by what I just showed you, really helps the person watching and listening see what on the screen is making what noise. Right there, for example, is a fantastic call and response segment, where one instrument plays, and then another instrument responds. The use of these techniques, on top of what is already being animated with the MIDIs, really helps show exactly where everything is coming from. And that is where the fucking beauty and clarity comes from. You see everything being played. Every sound you hear is on screen, represented by an instrument. Or a laser, or a weird fog, or whatever the hell Animusic loves to pull all sorts of weird shit out of its ass. And I think this is why it was shown in classrooms, especially in most of the schools I went to. Because even if you weren't super interested in music or learning music theory, hell, I didn't go to school for either of those things, Animusic was still a great teacher in this regard, because you had the visual to go with the audio. Hell, Animusic is part of the reason why I got so into music, to the point where I'm now making my own music for my project Lumen game that I'm working on, as well as all the music on this channel and on my streams is music that I've made. And honestly, none of that would have ever been possible without Animusic. Animusic was what really taught me about layering in instruments just by watching the way things played and how they physically worked on the screen to the music. Unfortunately, we're probably never getting an Animusic 3, as the last Animusic project to officially release was back in 2005, which was Animusic 2. However, there are some great fan videos on YouTube that are very similar. I put a couple of them in the description. There's some people who are basically making as close to Animusic 3 as we can get with the weird lasers, the beautiful instrument designs, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll make sure to link those down below. As well as my own music in case people actually want to hear the whole thing. That's the else I want to briefly touch on, by the way. The instrument designs for this are incredible. Every single track has an amazing set design. It's one of the things that a lot of the current modern fan projects kind of struggle with, because obviously you have to literally make entire music instrument models and then set them up to actually play properly. The original Animusic had incredible designs for all the various instruments, and it really helped give each track a more unique flavor. They're all remarkably alien, yet something you recognize. I think the term I used with a friend when I was talking to them about this was recognizably alien, where you have these strange music devices and machines and instruments, but they're playing themselves with makeshift hands, or lasers, or floating mallets. Now, if you're brand new to this video and you made it this far, I really do recommend you check out Animusic. You can find most of them for free on YouTube. I think almost all the tracks are available there. And they're worth a listen. Most of them are only 3 to 5 minutes long. And you'll see a lot of creativity on display, even these little 3 to 5 minute segments, outside the music just being genuinely good. Harmonic Voltage to this day remains one of my favorite songs ever. With that being said, this wraps up this episode of what I'm calling my new series, Flip Speaks, which is just going to be like a monthly thing where I go over something I find interesting or something I like. Some of the videos might be a lot longer, some of them will be probably shorter like this. Obviously I'll still be doing normal gaming content, and I have all my world building stuff on the World Walker Universe channel. So if you're interested, those will also be linked down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope that if you enjoyed Animusic as much as I do, you'll consider giving the video a little like and sub, and also go support these different artists who are making similar things to Animusic. And my music as well, you know? Musicians are fucking fantastic, Animusic is fantastic, animators are fantastic. All these art forms are fucking fantastic, and they all deserve support. And hopefully, maybe one day, there will be an Animusic 3 in the future.